20 segundos, gente, que empieza ya, ¿vale? Se supone que es el último de su especie, sí, bueno, de su especie.
I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2, and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal for what's coming next for Path of Exile 2. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live
Se
stream,
activan los drops,
so you'll be
gente,
able
ya.
to claim your Verdant Wilds dodge roll effect by following the instructions below. Now today, it's finally time to show off a new class that we know everyone
No
in the
salen los
community's been waiting
subtítulos, lo
for.
siento, gente.
So
lo
let's roll the
intento.
trailer for Path of Exile 2, The Last of the Druids.
Van a enseñar la expansión. Wake up, despierta. Pero bueno, señor, tápese.
Well, well. What have we got here then?
You lost, fella?
Hey, we're talking to you.
I asked you a question.
¿Está relacionado al tema del ritual?
What's wrong with him?
Ah, he's lost his bloody mind.
Qué bonita la transformación en oso. Me parece que este último druida es más uno muerto que uno vivo. Bueno, puede que se transformara y no pudiera controlar la transformación en algún punto. Y por eso llega un poco atolondrado al pueblo. Qué rabia me da los subtítulos. A ver si lo conseguimos. Recuerda 45 minutos para el drop. Precioso, ¿eh? Se ve bonito. Maravilloso. Prefiero werewolf.
I will find you, Eve.
Te encontraré. ¿Qué busca?
Now,
Está
as you can see,
buscando algo.
the Druid is a shape-shifting elemental spellcaster. After his fellow Druids were
Elemental
destroyed by the King in the
spellcaster.
Mists, the Druid lost his humanity in the forests of Ogham, where he wandered for years as a beast. Now, finally reawakened, he's determined to find his lost wife and regain his humanity.
Está buscando su esposa
The
perdida
Druid
y a
has
su
been one of the
humanidad. Se
hardest
convirtió en
classes
una
for us to
bestia.
design. As well as having human spells, he has 3 animal forms, and we wanted to make sure that there were interesting combos between all of them. The Druid is our first hybrid strength and intelligence class. That means he needs to have the ability to use spells and attacks. As a human, the Druid
ataques.
typically uses magical staves to harness the powers of the earth and the natural world. One
Vale,
of the
fuerza
first
de la
skills you will learn
naturaleza.
is the ability to create small volcanoes from the earth. This skill spits out balls of magma at your enemies, and will continue to do so for some time. While the volcano is active, turn into an animal and wade into melee range. Many of the skills you use as a human last for a significant period of time, giving you a good chance to turn into an animal and rage out. But how do you turn into an animal, you may ask?
¿Cómo te
Well, the
conviertes en
answer is a new
animal?
weapon type that druids use,
Tipo de
animal
arma.
talismans. When
Sí,
you equip an
tipo de
animal
arma,
talisman,
gente.
you can choose which animal form you would like the talisman to represent. Depending on what you choose, you'll be
Marcas
given
el
that
tipo de
animal's
arma.
basic attack as
O
a
sea,
new
el
skill
tipo
to
de
equip. For a
transformación.
bear, that's maul. To turn into a bear, simply use the skill. Your character will
Vale,
instantly
usas
transform
una
into a
skill
bear and
relacionada al
attack.
oso y te conviertes en
If you
oso.
want to change back to a human, just cast a spell.
Y si
You will
casteas un
instantly swap
spell,
back
vuelves a
and cast.
transformarte en humano.
We wanted to make sure that swapping between forms was seamless and immediate. Changing forms should be something that you do without even thinking about it all
Parece
the time
bastante
in battle.
fluido, ¿eh? La transformación.
In order to allow for hybrid melee and caster gameplay, most of the skills you use in your human form last for some time and aid your animal skills in some way. The
Este
volcano
mapa, de
we
hecho,
used
fue el que
earlier will
jugué
emit more
yo
molten balls
en la
when you hit it with a
Gamescom con
slam,
el oso.
making it perfect for use with your bear form's furious slam. While in bear form, many of your abilities use rage. There are a lot of ways to generate
Tiene
rage,
muchas
but
habilidades
the
que le
easiest
dan
one is simply
rage.
smash your enemies with maul. Once you see the runes on your back glowing, it means you have enough rage to do a much more devastating version of your furious slam. Your bear form can also go on a rampage, stomping the ground as you demolish
Rampage
your foes.
también. Wow.
The more rage you have, the longer the rampage lasts. And doing it
Cuanto
over a
más rage
volcano makes it
acumules,
even
más
better.
dura la racha.
As you consume rage, your bear form will generate
La mamá
endurance
del coda.
charges, and these can be used with skills like Ferocious Roar.
Es lo que dije, rotación de
Ferocious
skill de
Roar
animales
is
y
a
skill de
war
humano.
cry that powers
Bueno,
your
si ya lo
subsequent
habíamos
attacks
dicho
to break your
nosotros,
opponent's
Damaru.
armor.
Ya lo habían
The
enseñado.
more endurance charges you have when you use it, the more empowered attacks you will gain. But Ferocious Roar has another special feature too. It's a meta gem that allows you to socket any Warcry gem from another class into it, giving you the ability to use these skills as a bear.
Puedo usar las Warcry como
Use the
oso.
Warrior's Infernal Cry skill to make your enemies
Qué bueno.
explode.
Ha metido explode, Precioso.
Or use Seismic Cry to stun your enemies and double up the number of slams you do.
Mira la barrita aquí, muy sutil.
You can
La
even use it
barrita.
with Ancestral Call, a
Para el
skill that
rage.
turns you into the fire god Cow. Ever wondered what the Karui god of war would look like if he was a bear? Well, wait no longer. Finally, build up enough rage and you can use one of the bear's ultimate abilities, Walking Calamity. This skill summons a storm of fire around you for some time, while generating even more rage to power your other abilities.
Qué bonito, me encantan los
True
ataques de
bear
fuego.
apocalypse. Now the bear is known for being a slower and more lumbering animal, with slower attacks and heavy slams. But what if you want to turn into something a little more nimble? Well, let's check out the second animal form for the druid, wolf form.
Vale, la forma de lobo.
For the wolf form, we wanted to go fast and furious. Even just the wolf's basic attack will leap forward and rake his foes.
Vale, el oso
After
es más
attacking, the
lento y
wolf
más
stands up
ataque
on
más
two legs,
pesado.
but after running for a short
Este es
time,
más
he goes
ágil.
back on all fours,
Daño-
allowing to move
ataque
more
rápido.
quickly between packs of enemies. The wolf has a lot of cold attacks based on his association with the moon, and the first of these is Lunar Assault. It's great for freezing your enemies in place. After they're frozen, use your basic rake attack to knock shards of ice off your enemies, which land on the ground nearby and explode. If you want to get into battle quickly, you can use your pounce attack. This skill leaps at a target and applies a mark to them. Killing the marked enemy will summon a wolfman into your side, allowing them to fight with you. Mark and kill as many
Bueno, esto lo
enemies as you can
podemos
to build up a
combinar como
sizable
queramos,
pack.
pero han enseñado al
While an
oso con
enemy is
ataques de
marked,
fuego
your
y
wolves will
este con
prioritize
ataques
that
de
target and do
frío.
more damage the more wolves you have, so make sure you keep your pack strong. Now, one problem you might run into is your wolf pack dying in boss fights. You often don't have any enemies that you can mark and kill in order to regenerate your pack. To deal with this
Vale,
problem,
que en
you can
bosses
use
tiene más
cross slash.
problemas, pues está más
Cross
orientado
slash
para
jumps
packs.
backwards and does a vicious double slash. Any marks on your target explode and triggers their abilities. This allows you to pounce to mark an enemy and then summon a wolf even without killing them.
Vale, han metido
Cross slash
habilidades
also has another
concretas para
feature,
que
though.
te sirva en
Remember those
single
ice
target.
fragments from before? Well, cross slash will propel any ice shards on
Debe
the
ser
ground
gris por la
towards its
garra.
central target. First, freeze your enemies with Lunar Assault. Then rake them to create as many ice fragments as you can. Then follow up with cross slash to generate a field
Mira
of
los
icy
bichos chiquititos
explosions
que
to
ha creado.
obliterate your enemies. If they're still alive after that, your pack of wolves can finish them off. Just like with the bear's raw skill earlier that allows you to use skills from other classes, Pounce is also a meta gem that you can socket mark skills from other classes
Freezing
into.
Mark.
So for example, you might want to try adding Freezing Mark from the Monk to Pounce. After pouncing at an enemy, cross slash to explode the mark and gain extra cold damage for a time. The wolf has many other ways to go all in on cold though. Using the Arctic Howl Warcry will allow you to add cold damage and chilled ground
Se
to
ve
any
bonito,
slam,
me ha gustado más el
while
oso.
buffing your pack of
Pero
wolves
es
as
muy
well.
bonito este.
You can also use it to freeze enemies that are close to being frozen, making it much faster to use your other combos. Finally, the wolf also has the ability to call down the power of the moon to transform into
La
an Arctic
luna,
werewolf
el
with
poder de la
lunar
luna.
blessing. In this form, you move and attack more quickly and deal extra cold damage. Consuming rage will extend the duration of your Arctic wolf form, so you could try a hybrid bear and wolf build if you want to utilize the skill to its full effect.
Puedes cambiar entre transformaciones teniendo dos armas, una asociada al lobo y otra asociada al oso. Vale, y cada
All right,
skill la asocias
let's
a
talk about the third form
arma u
available
otra.
to the druid, and I think it's a cool one, the wyvern. The wyvern has a number
The
of
wyvern.
long-range breath abilities, but that doesn't mean you can't get into melee range when you want to. The basic
ver,
attack of the
¿cómo que
wyvern
tiene
is
esto?
rend. Jump forward into combat, and slash your enemies with your lethal talons.
Le pega con las alas,
If they're
tío.
close to being stunned, you can blow them off balance with a blast
Yo
from
quiero
your
escupir
wings,
fuego.
causing an explosion of damage. After the battle, though, it's time to feed. Devour the corpses of monsters to create power charges, and this is when the Wyvern's abilities really come online. When using Rend, you can consume a power
Este le han
charge to
puesto
charge up
lightning.
your wings with lightning. Not only does this do a bunch of damage, but it allows you to turn this melee skill into a much larger AoE attack. Once your wings are charged, your wing blast will also do lightning explosions for even more damage.
Cuando las alas se cargan.
If your enemies are close to death, no need to wait for
Puede
them to
hacer una
actually die.
explosión.
When you see
Entendido.
this blue marker, just
Ese salto
devour
sin
them alive.
rasquearse.
Fresh meat is much tastier after all. Alright, so those are some melee options, but how about range? Well, you wouldn't be much of a dragon if you couldn't breathe fire after all.
Eso es.
Rolling magma is the first of the Wyvern's breath attacks. Spit
Rolling
balls
magma.
of fire that bounce along the ground. These balls will trigger volcanoes
Qué
as well,
bonito.
so it's a good idea to cast one as a human right before you start spitting.
Pero un dragón chiquito solo suelta escupitajo. Míralo, escupitajo.
But that's not all you can spit. You have something a little nastier in that gullet of yours. Spitting a barrage of oil at your enemies will
No era
cover them in a
una especie de
viscous
dragón, no lo
sludge
sé.
that makes them easier to ignite. If you have power charges though, plant your wings in the ground and vomit a barrage of lightning-infused projectiles. The more power charges you have, the longer you can do this for. But make sure you keep your foes
Este
at range.
bonito.
You're vulnerable to melee attacks or
Lanzar el
channeling
rayo
your
por
skill.
la boca, ese está bonito,
In order
me
to help
gusta
with
más.
that, let's take a quick
El fuego
diversion
no
back
es
to some
feo,
of your human
pero un poco
abilities.
soso.
As a druid of Scoth, you have the ability to harness the power of nature to create entangling vines to slow down your enemies. Another of nature's punishments is the thunderstorm. Creating one of these will create periodic strikes of lightning from the sky, and will also make your enemies wet. Why is that useful?
Qué
Well, of
bueno.
course, things that are wet are easier to shock. Use it with lightning damage
Le
from your
tira
wyvern form
lluvia
to
para
enhance your
luego
damage.
hacerle shock.
Making things wet also makes them easier to freeze, so it works nicely with your wolf form as well. And you know what else likes water? Plants. Water your
No os
plants
estoy
to give
leyendo
them
mucho,
various
¿eh?
extra
Estoy más
abilities.
atenta a lo que
Use Lightning
presento.
Storm with Entangle
Luego
to
os
make them
leo.
last longer and attach more vines to each enemy, slowing them further. Summon Thrashing Vines to slam at your enemies for a time. Any that are created
Tienen
in water will be
raíces
larger
del
and
suelo,
deal more damage.
papegam, garantizam.
Now then, with our enemies sufficiently subdued with our plants, time to really lay into them with our lightning-infused barrage.
Este ataque me ha gustado, ¿eh? Me ha gustado, me ha gustado.
Now, this last Wyvern ability is just
Me sentiré como
ridiculous, but we
chimuelo.
felt like we had to do it. Use Flame Breath to take to the skies and rain down a stream of fire on your enemies. You have wings, so we have to take full
Oh!
advantage of them after all.
Oh,
So
este
fly
bonito.
around and burn in it.
Este es bonito. Oye, se ha cargado, fijaros el detalle de que se ha cargado el trigo, ¿eh? Con el fuego.
Now there are a few other skills we didn't cover, but there's one in particular that I think will open up a lot of builds. Spell Totems. Spell Totems are meta gems that let you create a
Spell
totem that will
totems.
automatically cast any spell in the game for a time. In order to create one, you will need to spend 3 endurance or 3 power charges.
Transformaciones y poderes de la naturaleza.
You could use them to
básicamente.
throw fireballs, summon comets, or shower the area in lightning. Really, the options are kind of endless. Your bear form can easily generate endurance charges by consuming rage, and your wyvern form can easily create power charges by eating corpses. So it's pretty easy for the druid to get the charges needed, but they're also available from quite a few other places as well. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of different spellcaster classes thinking about how best to take advantage of these. Now, of course, along with a new class comes a bunch of new support gems. We've added over 30 new
Nuevos
supports
support
throughout the game,
gems.
but I'll show you a few of the cooler ones here. Fan the
Vale,
Flames
mucho
can be
support
added
al
to
pack,
any wind skill to
support
spread
pack.
fire from one
Supporter
ignited enemy
gems y
to
que
the
nos
other
enseñan
enemies
unas
behind.
cuantas, ¿vale?
It's great for the Wyvern's Wing Blast.
Estas las podremos ver en
You can
detalle,
also use it
supongo,
on
en
many
unos
other
días.
classes with
con el
wind
parche.
skills, like the Twisters on the Huntress, or the Monk's Staggering Palm Projectiles. Accelerated growth causes extra explosive plants to erupt from the ground whenever you grow plants with rain.
Qué bonito. Qué
And
bonito las
Advancing
plantitas
Storm
explotándose,
changes
es chulo.
storm skills like your Thunderstorm or Tornado to move across the battlefield. It's great for watering plants en masse, or to turn tornadoes into a real disaster by sucking up multiple ground effects as they travel along.
Vale, tornadito que coja los elementos de lo
And the
que pille de
Sorceress might like to
camino.
use it with Firestorm as well.
Tormentita, Firestorm.
Echoing Cry causes your Warcry skills to echo. They will repeat a couple more times with a delay
Repite la
after you use
Warcry.
them, giving you
Echo
more
para
empowered
Warcry.
attacks. Use it for the druid's animal form war cries, or on the warrior for a nice power boost. Grounding shocks causes monsters you shock to turn into living Tesla coils, arcing lightning to nearby enemies.
Sí, que estamos
You could
viendo
use it with your
el
empowered
Druida.
wings for an extra damage boost, but it's also great with any other shocking skill. Try it out with Lightning Spear. It obviously needed more AoE clear. There's a whole pile more, but we'll leave those for you to discover. Now with a new class comes new Ascendancy classes. The Druid will have 2 options for now,
Ascendencias.
with a third being released later.
Dos por ahora,
The
la
first class
siguiente
is
más tarde.
the Shaman.
El
The Shaman
chamán,
channels nature's elemental fury and can harness rage as a
un poco lo que hemos
spellcast,
visto, ¿no? Uno más en
unifying his
transformaciones y
animalistic
otro más
and
en
magical
elementos
tendencies.
naturales. Vale.
By allocating Druidic Champion, you gain spell damage
Cada
the
dos de
angrier
rey
you are.
gana spell
And with
damage.
Furious Wellspring, you generate rage continuously
Generas
and can spend it to
rey,
empower your spells.
Maná.
With the knowledge of the Asmerian Magi, the Shaman can harness untapped power from runes and idols.
Beneficios de
After allocating Wisdom of
modificadores.
the Magi, you will notice that
Puestos
all
en
runes and
runas e
idols have
ídolos.
extra mods only available to the Shaman.
Bonded.
These new mods unlock
¿Qué es
countless
esto
new
de
possibilities
bonded?
for enhancing
Oh.
your build. You can also allocate Bringer of the Apocalypse,
Mamá,
allowing you
me
to
van a
become a
complicar las
walking
runas otra
natural
vez.
disaster. After dealing enough elemental damage, storms of all elements rain around you, destroying all who would face nature's fury. There are other abilities for the Shaman, but I'll just show a few from each class for now. The other Druid Ascendancy is the Oracle. The Oracle perfected the power of foresight and utilizes this in combat to gain massive advantage.
¿Qué ha dicho Arco?
When
No me he
taking
enterado.
Fateful Vision, you will see visions of your future self using specific skills. If you decide to follow this path by using the skill yourself, it will do
No tiene
significantly
ascendencia
more damage.
dedicada a las transformaciones nada más. A modificar esa
And with
transformación.
converging paths, at a critical moment in battle when a monster is vulnerable to freeze, stun, or electrocution, the Oracle can use Moment of Vulnerability to see a vision of the enemy's future and then merge it with the
Ooh.
current timeline, allowing him to deal damage to both. And one of my favorites, when you first become an Oracle, you'll notice over 130 new extra passives appear in the Druid section of the tree. By allocating the Unseen Path, you use your power of foresight to learn from alternate futures and gain skills that would
¿Verdad?
otherwise be unavailable to you.
Se puede saltar parte
For
del árbol,
example,
entendido. Tiene
self-sacrificing
puntos
allows you
extra.
to be able
o
to
algo
summon
así.
more minions by reducing the spirit costs, with the
Luego
trade-off
lo
of
vemos en
making your
detalle.
reservation skills cost more spirit. Or Corruption Endures, which allows oracles to have a small chance to avoid death. Both the Druid Ascendancies offer interesting and unique ways to gain
Al ponerse
modifiers
ese
that
punto
no
de la
other class can
ascendencia le da
get.
acceso a
So we're
puntos
expecting
nuevos
a
en el
huge
árbol,
variety of build
entendido.
possibilities from these. Now there are unique talismans for the Druid to use as well. We won't spoil all of them, but this one was particularly cool. Fury of the King turns your bear form into a fire demon, converting most of your damage to fire.
Demonio
As
de
a demon,
fuego,
you
¿eh?
can
¿Te
also use
convierte?
Molten Crash, a jumping slam attack that leaves fissures around you. This
Precioso.
unique also continuously grants glory, allowing you to use your ultimate abilities more easily. Now, of course, the Druid isn't the only thing we're adding to 040. We still have a bunch more to show. With every new release, we create a new league with new mechanics, new pinnacle bosses, and with a new story to tell. And this time is no exception. So let's roll the trailer for the fate of the Vaal.
Trailer de liga, gente.
Palace of Queen Atziri.
Reina City.
It is a ruin, but in the dark, machines still churn.
Máquina. Maquinaria.
The temple has many functions, and with it, a
¿Qué es
chance
esto?
to save the
Es un
Vaal,
revuelo incursión.
a gateway through time.
Vas eligiendo las salas que visitar. Como en síntesis, ¿no?
Travel into the past, again and again. Alter the temple, uncover its
Me
secrets.
recuerda a síntesis.
You will be rewarded for your sacrifice.
Te sacrifica.
And somewhere in the deepest chamber, my queen.
Y en algún lado podemos enfrentarnos a la reina.
I beg of you, hear me. The beast cannot give you what you desire.
You may have studied it, Doriani, but you do not know it like I do. It adores me. Come now, give unto me your desire. At last, fulfill my soul.
¡Ay, Dios mío! Me recuerda a la liga de síntesis, creo que era en la que se hacían los planos estos.
I'm Mark Roberts,
Me recuerda
game
Incursión.
director on Path of Exile. In the fate of the Vaal League, you will find remnants of the ancient Vaal civilization scattered throughout Rayclast. They seem to attract nearby creatures and affect them strangely.
Vamos a encontrar remanentes
After killing them,
de los
the
Vaal.
remnant appears to gain some amount of power, but not enough to fully activate it. It seems you will need to find 5 more of these arcane
Necesitas
devices
encontrar 5
and
más
sacrifice the
para
monsters you find
activarlo.
there to fully
Wow.
activate one. But things don't always go to plan. These devices are old and sometimes infected by corruption. Twisted versions of ancient Vaal may
Ese hay un
emerge,
boss de corrupción.
and sometimes even stronger foes. On fully activating one of the devices, you finally discover its true purpose.
Vale,
A
cuando
portal
terminas de
opens
encenderlo todo,
and takes you deep underground to a lost temple,
te deja
once
entrar
the
a
home of
una-
Atziri, Queen of the Vaal.
Vale, te deja entrar a un templo, a
What
unas
treasures
ruinas.
could still be inside?
Literalmente lo
I
que
think you're gonna
dije.
want to find out.
Incursiones
In
con
front of
zonas
the
más
entrance is a
relacionadas
console
a
of some
Siri.
kind,
Es
and on
literalmente lo que
activating
dije.
it,
Lo
you can see a
aceptamos.
map of the temple. Atziri's personal chambers are on the far side, but how could anyone get there? There are
Tenemos a
disconnected
Doriani
rooms,
y
and the
tenemos a
layout doesn't
Siri.
seem to make sense. And that's when you realize the purpose of the ancient devices scattered through Rayclast.
Es un
The
poquito
temple
Leyos
is
Calandra
powered by
también,
sacrifice,
poniéndonos
and
las
this
salas.
energy can be used to modify the very structure of the temple itself. Each time you run the temple, you will be given 6 rooms that you can place,
Vamos a
allowing you
colocar
to craft
6
your own dungeon to
habitaciones.
explore. Place paths to link up the dungeon, and place rooms beside them full of precious loot.
Vale, diferentes tipos de salas para
After you are
encontrar
happy with
diferentes
your
tipos de
choices,
recompensa.
open the temple and
Y una vez
discover the
preparas la
results of
sala,
your efforts.
entras. Me recuerda un poco a Leyos Calandra,
Each room contains different
cuanto a
challenges
preparación.
along with its rewards.
pero más rápido.
On entering a
parece.
room, the doors will slam shut behind you, and you will need to face the encounter within. But choose wisely. It's important where you place the rooms to get maximum returns.
Que tienes que
For
limpiar la
example,
sala para la
when placing a
mejor
commander,
recompensa.
you could just place it anywhere along an existing path, but a much better strategy is to place it next to a garrison of troops for him to command.
La cuestión es, a nivel
With better
temporal,
leadership,
estamos
the
moviéndonos al
garrison will
pasado.
level up, making the
o
monsters
el-
harder,
o está en el
but
presente.
also more rewarding. Different rooms have different requirements for leveling up. For
Pero claro,
example,
Ciri sigue
if you
atrapada,
want to
pero
fully level up a smithy,
Este Doriani
you
no
will
es el
need to
Doriani que
supply it
vemos
with
en PoE 2.
golems from an
Es un
adjacent
Doriani
golem
más
works,
antiguo.
and hook up a generator to the power network
Puede ser
to
que sea
supply
un
it with
tipo de
power.
incursión al pasado.
After doing so, the golems will be powered up, making them much more dangerous. You don't need to memorize what interacts with what.
Bueno, cuanto
When
más
selecting a room,
profundicemos,
you will be shown the locations that will
más
make other rooms
más
level up,
rewarding por así
and
decirlo.
exactly what effect it will have on the temple.
Más lejos, más recompensas en principio. Más dificultad también.
After running the temple, a few of the rooms will destabilize and be removed. It will be up to you to rebuild the temple, adding 6 more rooms each time you come back,
Que vuelvas hay
making the
6
temple
rooms
larger
más.
and larger and larger. So, that's the basic functionality of the temple, but there is a lot more. Once Doriani finds out about your travels to Lera Vaal, he will attempt to persuade you to take on a new mission. The temple entrance contains a prototype of the time portal device. It will be able to take you back in time, but only to one specific point, right before Atziri
¿Quién
triggered the
es ese
cataclysm
NPC?
that destroyed the Vaal. He requests that you go back and attempt to stop Atziri to prevent the Vaal from ever being destroyed.
Puede ser el propio Doriani que nos esté intentando ayudar a volver al pasado y que Atziri no cometa lo que cometió.
Atziri is on the far side of the temple, so you will need to expand the temple significantly to get to her. And even worse, her chambers can only be unlocked by a room that isn't currently accessible to you. In order to deal with that, you are going to need to visit the architect of the temple,
Vale, primero tienes que
To
matar
get
al
to him,
arquitecto
you will need to place
y
path
luego ya
runes.
puedes ir a por
But while
el
doing
boss.
so, you will probably want to exploit some of the Vaal technology only available in the past. Once you can travel into the past, a whole new set of rooms are available to you, and they have some pretty insane rewards. At level 1, the corruption chamber can be used to corrupt a single item.
Altar de corrupción.
But placing it next to a thaumaturge to run the place, and a sacrificial chamber to provide soul energy, you'll be able to level it up. And it's worth it. Because
Tiene
once
loco
you get the room
corrupción,
to
lo
level
vamos a dar
3,
como reward
there
de
are some
incursión,
very
¿vale?
nice rewards to be had.
100%.
In a level 3 corruption chamber, you will find this
Wow,
mysterious
pero tienes
device.
que poner unas salas
It
concretas
has a slot to
alrededor
place
para
an item,
convertir la
and it
sala.
only accepts items
Parece
that are already
bastante
corrupted.
tedioso. Habrá que verlo
What
con
will happen to
calma,
them?
¿eh?
Well, normally once an item is corrupted, you can't modify it any further. But this device
Lo
allows you to
corrompe de
corrupt your
manera
item a
impredecible o lo
second time,
destruye.
adding another enchantment. This has the capability to craft some very powerful items indeed. But be warned,
Doble
the
corrupción,
Vaal are
tal
all
cual.
about taking risks in the pursuit of power. There is a 50% chance that the item will be destroyed.
Es incursión de Alba con Santo. Yo lo veo más como reward de incursión, tomando cosas de tanto de síntesis como de Leyos Calandra,
Each room
como
has its own
de
interesting
Santum.
mechanics
Un poco
and
combo.
rewards when it levels up.
Porque en Santum
Many
tú
of
no
them
preparabas
contain
las
bosses to
salas, tú
fight,
elegías cuál querías ir, pero no
special
las
drops.
preparabas. En Calandra sí.
And in many cases, new crafting opportunities.
Modifica gemas, también aquí.
For example, a level 3 alchemy lab has
Bosses
a nasty Vaal
especiales
construct
del
to fight.
área.
But if you can defeat it, you can find new corrupted soul cores.
Vale, podemos encontrar nuevas cosas de corrupción.
Like Guatalitzi's Thesis, which on boots allows you to sacrifice your life to run faster.
Vale,
Or
sacrificas cosas para ganar otras
Sita Thesis,
cosas.
which on gloves will revive one of your minions whenever an offering expires. Get a sacrificial chamber to level 3, and you will need to face a highborn priest of sacrifice. Defeat him to be able to further corrupt a Vaal unique, modifying it in unpredictable ways. One of the mods of this unique will be removed
Recibes hasta
and
dos
replaced with another
modificadores en
random
un
mod.
Vaal único. Mira qué poder.
For example, this Soul Mantle. It gives you an additional totem, but lowers your totem's life and curses you when they die. By using the machine, this could result in a
Esto es
terrible item if
básicamente
you
lo que
remove
nos han
the good
metido
mod,
de brechas en PoE
but
1,
also
esta
some
liga.
amazing items if
En
you
PoE
replace
2
the downside.
es lo mismo, reemplazar un modificador por otro.
Now, one extra thing to mention about these Vaal crafting machines. You don't have to take the items you want to craft into the temple. If you don't have the item you want to craft with you at the time, then clicking this
Mejora
button
la
will allow you to
calidad.
create a currency item instead, allowing you to do the craft later
Por
or trade it
encima
if
de
you want.
20, con una probabilidad de corromperlo.
Now, there are
Vale.
all sorts of interesting rooms you can find in the
Pseudo
temple,
Fulgor, sí.
but the last one I want to show you today is the Flesh Surgeon. A Vaal Flesh Surgeon can be leveled up by placing him next to a high-level synth flesh lab.
Dios, tienes que hacer una combo específica para sacar una
But
sala.
be careful.
Eso me parece
The
un
Flesh
poco
Surgeon has
movida,
some
¿eh?
rather
Parece muy
unpleasant
complicado
experiments in
de
his
aprenderlo
personal lab.
fácil de manera intuitiva. No parece que de manera intuitiva lo
Afterwards,
puedas
you
hacer,
might notice the
sino que
surgery
vas a estar
table just
consultando la
sitting there.
wiki.
The Vaal are great at crafting
Ojalá me
items.
equivoque.
Why not do some crafting on yourself? After laying down, you'll be asked which limb you'd like to
Te
replace.
corrompes a ti mismo,
Left
me
arm,
encanta.
perhaps your right leg. Each limb can get a different set of random bonuses, so choose wisely.
Maravilloso.
After getting up from the table, try out your new limb. It seems to work fine, and even perform better than your normal one. Now, there is just one thing with replacing body parts. If you die and are resurrected, your body will return to its natural state.
Si
You
muere,
might need
vuelves
to
a tu
return
estado
to the Vaal
natural.
Surgeons if you want another robot arm, and maybe get a better one next time. Some rooms, like the Commander, can give you a new type of reward. Medallions
tipos de
that can be used
recompensa
to
en algunas
manipulate the
salas.
temple in other ways. Using a Queeper-Lartal's medallion will allow you to artificially boost a room,
Vale,
even
puedes
if it
subir
doesn't
las
meet the normal
habitaciones.
requirements to level up.
sin los requisitos
And
base.
a
Quiero
Huatalotli's
subirlo a saco y ya
medallion
está.
will stop rooms from destabilizing when you complete a temple, allowing you to guarantee
puedes
getting a
bloquear
reward
salas para que
a
no
second
cambien.
time. Great if you want to stock up on double corrupts. Now, with all that aside, time to face the Architect, and you will be in for a fight.
El arquitecto real.
Once defeated, you will find another console that can be used to modify the temple. But this one is special. It allows you to place new types of rooms
Royal Access
with
Chamber,
specific
ahí está.
rewards.
Ahí estaba la
There are
sala que
rooms
nos daba
with
acceso al boss.
specific uniques, special runes,
Runas especiales,
currency.
únicos especiales.
but also a
Currency.
few other, more niche crafting experiments. Like
Estoy
this one,
ítem
that can extract the
regresando
soccer balls
aumens.
back out of an item
Justos en él.
at the cost of destroying it.
Now,
Para
something
recuperar
really
las
important
runas.
is every league we release a significant amount of content for the in-game. In order to make sure that
No
the
va a
fate
tener
of the
sentido ir
Vaal
haciendo
works
la
well
liga
for
mientras
late-game
subes
players,
actos. No
we've
parece.
added many mechanics to make sure that you can scale the
Me
difficulty
parece bastante
and rewards to
complicadica, ¿eh?
match.
Mucha gente va a pasar de largo de
Getting
la
some rooms
mecánica.
to level 3 adds extra
tiene
mods
cosas
to the entire
interesantes.
dungeon. And these stack with each other. So in endgame, when you can get some really big temples, you can generate a challenge that can even match the strongest of characters. We also start to introduce ways to store up energy for the temple, allowing you to save up many runs so you can do them later at your leisure and not interrupt your mapping too often. Now in each league, it's important that we have a new pinnacle boss to test your character's
No
might.
opina que el boss.
In the fate of the Vaal, you will get to face Adzeri while she was at the
Interesante.
peak of her power. One
Vale,
of the
te
rewards
enfrentas
you
a
will gain
Ciri.
by defeating the
Está como el
Architect
espejo ahí,
is
¿eh?
the ability to place the Royal Access Chamber.
¿Vale?
Once connected to your temple, you can visit it to finally reach the Queen of the Vaal herself.
Mira,
This
viene Alba y
fight takes
Doriani,
place
los
at a
dos.
critical moment in history.
Los dos
Right
te están
as Adzeri
ayudando.
communes with the beast's power and takes her true corrupted form. Now, we are not going
Tal
to
cual,
show you the
versiones
whole
iniciales de
fight, but we
Adzeri.
will tempt you with one of the rewards. This is Adzeri's rule.
¿Vale?
This
Únicos
staff gives
exclusivos.
additional levels to all of your corrupted
Más
gems
dos a las
and
esferas
lets you
que
trade
llevan
life for
corruptas.
extra damage.
Espero que
But in
cuesten
addition to that, while using the
daño.
staff, mirrors of refraction will constantly appear on the battlefield. Any projectile you fire at these will split into a nova, and they can chain from one to the other.
So, that's the fate of the Vaal
Le veo
League.
sindicato reformado a
But
salas. No sé
we
qué le
are
ves de
also bringing the
sindicato,
previous
Carlos.
league, Rise of the Abyssal, into the core game,
Es
along with a
más
few changes.
incursión.
Now, for those of you who haven't seen what happens
Tiene
when a
cosas
league is
interesantes,
over,
pero si quieres
it's
decir
important to
científico, mejor tu vídeo
understand that you will
sirve.
not
No.
be seeing abysses in every area anymore.
Tenemos a Ciri
Rise of the
transformada y
Abyssal is
powereada.
now one of the league
Es una
mechanics that
versión
can show up
temprana de
randomly
Ciri,
in
creo.
endgame.
Vale, cambios en
If
ella.
you want to specialize in running abysses, there is now a tablet that will allow you to add them to any map you run.
Vale, Abyss.
You can also
Tablillas
craft
de
the
Abyss.
tablet to add
Añade Abyss
abyss-specific
al
mods
mapa.
to enhance how they function.
Desecrated
Now that
currency de los
Abyss is
mapas de
core,
Abyss.
it also needs its own Atlas tree.
Tiene su propio árbol.
You can gain your
Para
first
Abyss,
points by
vale.
completing an abyss. But there are more available for doing depths and killing certain bosses. And there are a bunch of different options. You might just want more monsters and bosses. But you can also make finishing an abyss have a chance to overrun a nearby map with the abyssal. Or make your waystone modifiers also apply to abyssal
Los
depths.
modificadores también aplican a las profundidades
You
del
could
abismo.
specialize in the interaction with other leagues,
Incremento de
or
Rogue
specialize in a
Exile,
specific abyssal faction.
Ulaman, Kurgal.
One of the important elements that we have heard loud and clear
¿Qué
is
pasa
that
con el
needing to
pozo?
do abyss crafting on waystones is quite annoying. So, we have removed that.
Han eliminado
In
el...
fact, we have removed instilling from waystones as well. This mechanic felt mandatory on maps because it boosted the value of all other content, but it was both annoying to do and resulted in a lot of visual clutter. Instead, we are bringing back some of that power on tablets, which you don't need to craft nearly as often, since they last for 10 maps each. Once you defeat the Arbiter of Ash, You will be able to upgrade tablets to a rare with 4 mods using regular currency. Even this isn't enough to fully bring back the power you could have gotten from instilling, so we have also buffed the bonuses that tablets give. Going forward, we're not going to be adding any more crafting directly to waystones outside of the basic currency, because it adds too much micromanagement. But on that note, Fate of the Vaal does bring the ability to corrupt your tablets, hoping to get one of many different random outcomes. Now, with regard to Delirium Fog, even though you shouldn't have to have it on every map anymore, we still did want to make it less visually annoying. Delirium Fog has been toned down significantly, so you won't feel like you're just playing in a sea of grey. Another big source of problems in the endgame is the feeling of getting overwhelmed with monsters. In 031, we reduced the number of monsters in early endgame in order to help with this, but still scaled up the number of monsters to previous levels by the time you got to tier 15. Well, after letting this simmer for a while, we are still getting this kind of feedback. So we are no longer going to scale up the number of monsters you go as you get deeper into the endgame. Instead, we are scaling up the difficulty and rewards by the same amount. So to be clear, instead of increasing the number of monsters by 40%, they will instead drop 40% more items, grant 40% more experience, and have 40% more life, in addition to all the normal scaling they get due to being higher level. This only applies to regular monsters, not bosses. We have also reduced the speed modifiers that monsters can get sometimes, which also helps a lot with this. Now, we did have a large amount of content for endgame planned for 040, but unfortunately we just didn't get time to finish it. The scope was a bit too large, and so we would need to wait until 050 for that. But rest assured, there will be a ton of upgrades for the existing leagues, as well as new pinnacle bosses, and a significant overhaul to the Atlas passive tree coming soon. Now, another problem that becomes a much bigger issue in the endgame is game performance. And we have done a lot of work here. The primary issue is CPU load. And to address that, a lot of things have been optimized. And we have done a lot of work to take advantage of more of your CPU cores. You should see frame rates of at least 25% higher, and a lot less bad frame spikes during gameplay. It does make quite a big difference, especially on consoles. A lot more work in this area is ongoing, and you will continue to see performance improvements over the next few months. Of course, another important area is game balance, and we have made a lot of changes. Now, most of these we will save for the patch notes, but I'll do a quick summary of some of the numbers. As well as adding 11 new unique items, we have rebalanced dozens of others that are not currently used very often. We've also done a pass over lineage supports. 21 of them have been rebalanced, as well as adding 9 more. Alongside the 2 new Druid ascendancies, we have made balance changes to almost all the others, with some of them getting a grander rebalance, such as the Smith of Katava. Alongside the 20 plus new Druid skills, we've also rebalanced 90 other active skills across all the different classes. And to top it all off, there are also over 250 new passive skills added to the passive tree. These changes should go a long way to increase the viability of many more skills, uniques, and overall build variety that can tackle our most challenging content. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new supporter packs. Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Precursor and Calgurin packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Precursor series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. First up, the Marble Statue Character Effect. Once you finally stay still for a moment, a podium rises up out of the ground to immortalize you, turning your skin to marble. When you next move, the stone crumbles around you. The precursors had mastery over gravity manipulation.
Efecto de
So
portal.
too can you, now with the Gravity Well portal.
No me gusta.
Witness the power of its pull as you approach it.
No.
Draw in enemies with your own gravitational pull
La
with the
armadura
Awakened
bonita,
Precursor armor set. The Precursors designed
La
and built many
pena.
mysterious ancient beings.
Le falta brilli
This one used to
ese
serve as a
bichito.
scout that would patrol and tase intruders. Why salvage gear yourself when the Master of the Forge can do it for you? Molten gold spills out as the Forge Master breaks down your items.
¿Vale? ¿Te reemplaza la mesa de reciclaje?
The relic of the Precursor's map device is a mysterious machine that sits atop ancient colossal statues.
Mantebáis de los
It keeps
colosos.
track of the number of charges consumed on your Precursor tablets used in the device.
Te cuenta los
The
modificadores de
Calgary
tablilla.
Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Otro pack.
The Calgurans had astounding
Que
skill in
algunos
astronomy,
soporte.
being
Efecto
able
al
to
subir de
track
nivel.
cosmic events with absolute precision. Harnessing that skill, with the Astronomer's
Finisher
level up
effort.
effect equipped, you too can now see exactly how long it took you to level up as it outputs the time in chat. The time taken to reach your last 3 levels is also displayed on the item, so you can link it when you have a time you're proud of.
Puedes linkearlo para decir cuánto has
Crush unique
alcanzado esos
enemies
niveles.
by unleashing the wrath of the lost Calguran fleet, led formerly by Captain Heartland
¿Vale?
himself.
Finisher F. Verdito, bonito.
A Calguran seafarer needs armor fit for the treacherous seas of
Madre mía, país de
Reacción.
marinero, de piratilla.
This set has you covered with the classic
Skin de
tricorn
piratilla.
and of
No
course
estaba en mi
a
bingo de
piglet.
hoy, ¿eh? Mira, con la
The lost
pata
treasure
palo y
weapon
todo.
skins top off your appearance of a true raider of the seas.
Weapon skin.
These gilded weapons can be applied to wands, two-hand maces, and shields.
Oye, el escudo bonito.
After a long day of plundering loot, retreat to the Kraken's Cove hideout,
Oh,
a
qué
home of some
liado.
of the most deadly ocean-dwelling creatures in Rayclast. Many ships have met their demise here.
Bonito.
What better to
lo
accompany you in
compraría, pero
Kraken's
bonito.
Cove than a Kraken itself?
El
Replace
baúl
your
está
stash
guapo,
with a
el baúl
dormant
del
Kraken
Kraken.
waiting
Guau,
for
eso me
its
ha
prey.
gustado, ¿eh?
As you approach, it will awaken and terrify both
bonito.
you and any guests in your hideout.
Se ve bonito. Lo
Alongside
mito.
this, an extra stash skin item will be granted to you, and when placed, will automatically open to any stash tab set with the currency affinity.
Puedes poner
To
que
help
te
having to
abra
navigate
una
through your
pestaña
tabs.
determinada. Un Kraken en concreto.
Additionally, any
Lo hace.
microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1.
Que lo vamos a tener también disponible en PoE 1.
Thank you very much for all your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A
está.
with Ziggy D. Afterwards, at 11 AM NZ time, we'll post the patch notes.
Dentro de 2 horas y
With
pico
release at the
publican
end of
las
next
notas de
week,
parche.
our community team will be
Me ha
posting
parecido
crucial
muy
information
feo
you'll need for the release.
Que hayan dicho
Keep
que
an eye
habían
on the
hecho más
news.
cambios al endgame y tal, pero
Thanks
que no
for
les ha
joining
dado
us today
tiempo.
and checking
No te ha dado
out our
tiempo
latest
retrasar la liga,
developments.
tío. Bueno, que ahora viene el QA con Siggy. Yo nunca lo veo, me veo luego el resumen y tal. No me voy a poner ahora con esto. A ver, personalmente, la mecánica parece tediosa, pero interesante. O sea, ofrece cosas interesantes porque tenemos ahí corrupción de gemas, corrupción de ítem, vemos cositas así curiosetas, pero vemos que es como una especie de reward e incursión. Vemos que tenemos el bot de Asiri, que los NPCs que nos van a ayudar son Dorjani y Alba, así que a lo mejor Dorjani quiere volver al pasado para intentar que Asiri tome un buen camino. Seguramente la versión de Asiri que estamos viendo ahí es una versión más temprana que la Asiri que conocemos en el PoE 1, totalmente transformada y totalmente sin humanidad. A lo mejor aquí todavía le queda algo de humanidad y Dorjani pretende salvarla, pero ya ve que es demasiado tarde. Puede traer a nivel de lore cositas interesantes. A nivel de lore me gusta. A nivel de mecánica yo creo que a muchos jugadores no le va a gustar y van a pasar de largo porque han dicho que vas a tardar varios mapas en tener tu templo completo realmente, ¿no? Entonces, esto ya pasó con el lago de Calandra. Con el lago de Calandra había que hacer las cosas poco a poco. ¿Y qué pasó? Que a la gente no le gustó y ya está. Entonces, creo que mucha gente va a probar el druida, pero que la mecánica de liga la va a dejar un poquito de lado. ¿Tiene cosas interesantes? Oye, pues sí, tiene la doble corrupción, tiene un montón de cositas interesantes, pero ¿a la gente le compensa el tiempo que va a pasar dentro? Pues a la mayoría de usuarios, pues a lo mejor no, sobre todo el usuario casual, que no tiene tiempo de aprenderse una mecánica tan tediosa como eso. Digo tediosa porque no solo hacer el camino, hemos visto que salas concretas tienes que complementarla de una manera determinada alrededor para que la sala del santo se convierta a una determinada. Entonces, bueno, lo veo un poquito complicadeco, ¿no? Para los que me estéis viendo, dejadme por aquí abajo en los comentarios qué os ha parecido la presentación y os leo un comentario. Si te ha gustado el vídeo, dale a like, dale a la campanita y nos vemos en el próximo vídeo. Chao, chao.